Senator Kirsten Gillibrand cruises to re-election. It's Wednesday, November 6th, and this is your New York Daily News. Wednesday's forecast calls for partly cloudy skies in New York City, with a high near 80 and a low near 65. Before today's top story, the class of 2027 is expected to be the last in New York who need to pass Regents exams to earn a high school diploma, state education officials announced Monday. The projected timeline is part of a $11.5 million 5-year plan presented to the Board of Regents to rework graduation measures, including to drop the high-stakes tests as a requirement. Other changes on the horizon would consolidate 3 types of diplomas into one, adjust credit requirements, and broaden the skills and knowledge students need to graduate. Each of the proposals require approval by the Board of Regents before they can get into effect. For a standard diploma, current students must pass at least 4 Regents exams and a state-approved assessment and meet certain credit requirements. New York is one of just a handful of states that still require students pass standardized tests to graduate after research has found little evidence of their efficacy. The Regents exams administered in January 2028 would be the first that students are not required to pass in order to graduate. And the NYC Board of Elections sent technicians out to polling sites across Queens on Tuesday after reports that machines at several locations were rejecting ballots. BOE's Deputy Executive Director confirmed to the Daily News that some scanners in the borough had been kicking ballots out, requiring them to be scanned multiple times for votes to be recorded. In a statement issued shortly before noon, the BOE said corrective measures had been taken and that machines at all 290 polling places borough-wide had been inspected in an abundance of caution. The BOE continued, saying the malfunctioning machines eventually started registering votes, and that ballots that were outright rejected by the scanners would be counted later in the day at the BOE's Queensboro office. The scanner hiccups and long lines added a sense of unease to an already anxiety-ridden day as hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers headed to the polls to vote in various elections, including the high-stakes presidential contest. Find the latest on these stories and more right now at nydailynews.com. U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand glided to re-election on Tuesday, easily winning another 6-year term as the junior senator from New York over longshot Republican challenger Mike Sapraicone, a retired NYPD detective. Gillibrand, an incumbent Democrat first appointed to her seat in 2009 when Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State, secured her 3rd full term, with the Associated Press calling the race shortly after polls closed at 9 p.m. Tuesday. She'd won 66% of the votes, with 40% of the results in. Tonight's results are absolutely clear, Gillibrand said in a speech after her victory at Hotel Chelsea in Manhattan, that New Yorkers believe in leadership that puts people over politics and finding those common-sense solutions to the real problems that people are facing all across this state. The race was the only election this year for the Senate in New York. The other seat is held by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who was last re-elected in 2022. For months, there was buzz of Gillibrand, a relative moderate from Albany, facing a possible primary challenge, including from the left in Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but the progressive up-and-comer ruled out the race mid-last year. That left re-election all but Gillibrand's to lose in deep blue New York, especially in a presidential election year when Democratic turnout tends to be strong, against Sapraicone, a political newcomer from Long Island who was endorsed by Donald Trump and runs a private security firm. The candidates clashed over a New York ballot proposal, the Equal Rights Amendment, with Sapraicone saying it could allow students to play on sports teams corresponding with their gender identity. Gillibrand launched a failed presidential campaign in 2019 that ended after 5 months. As a senator, she has counted securing health care support for 9/11 first responders and passing anti-gun trafficking legislation and sexual assault in the military reforms as among her legislative victories. Gillibrand, at her election night party, where she was introduced by Governor Hochul, listed federal deductions for state and local taxes, health care, and supporting unions as her next set of priorities, and spoke against hate and division in the country, including anti-Semitism. "I will always reach across the aisle to find that common ground for the common good," she said, "and always work to unite rather than divide our state or our country." For more on this story and for the latest in New York City politics, visit nydailynews.com and follow us on social media at nydailynews. Thanks for listening. My name is Imran Sheikh.
Spoken Layer.